What's up guys, welcome to another video. Today we recorded a new series for the comfort zone where we broke down a drill that I like to use on my horses to really help them lock into the diagonal, lift their shoulders, drive from behind, and really give them that forward momentum that we're after to really be able to perform very well in any discipline. But if you're like me, no matter what discipline you do, you probably face often the same issues that I think a lot of horse trainers and riders face, such as dropping shoulders, horses pushing down into your hands, coming out of lead behind, or just not changing lead properly, or not doing good speed transitions to your liking. And there's no better feeling. It's like a good golf shot. You know, there's no better feeling than executing that clean, perfect lead change, or that stop when you say whoa, and it's just that hind end engages and hits the ground, and where you just feel you've got your horse lined up so perfectly to execute it that it is as effortless as it can be. So this drill is what I use the most often on all of my horses to get them to that point and really maximize my performance. As usual, the full content has been uploaded to the Comfort Zone Horse Training video series. If you are not subscribed to that, I recommend that you go and take a look. And if you're not, there's a 7-day free trial that you can take advantage of and browse through the entire platform and at no cost, and see if that's something for you. If not, fine. If it is, then we would be happy to have you on board. Oh my God, like a lawnmower. All right, the exercise in question, I call it continuous exercise. The reason I call it in continuous exercise is because that from the time that I start, it's like a chain link of event that I do, and that you can just kind of keep going and keep going and keep going until all of those events become perfect. And so the key element here, or I guess the number one tool that is going to be really important to be able to do this exercise, is going to be able to control the inside shoulder and get the corner of the horse, the corner of the mouth of the horse, using the indirect rein. So if you've never done an indirect rein with your horse, or you don't know what that is, I recommend that you really get to it, and I'll explain here to you a little bit what it is. And an indirect rein is whenever you take a contact in the corner of the mouth and use the sort of the part between the neck and the shoulder there as leverage. Okay, so you've got that point of contact between your hand and the corner of your mouth. Okay, so this is why it's called an indirect rein. And the benefit of an indirect rein is whenever you have a horse that's bracy against you, and it's a horse that you need to use a lot of legs and really drive them under themselves to get them to find and lock into the diagonal. It's a good way to not have to be pulling against the horse to achieve that, okay? So since you're not pulling directly towards you, or let's say pulling in one direction that your horse can just say, no, I'm gonna go the opposite direction, an indirect rein, it leaves very little options for a horse to brace against you or to fight against you. So it's a very good place to go and get control over that shoulder and get your horse to follow his nose and go where you want him to, without giving him the option to fight you or brace against you. So the way that I start all of my horses is in a small circle. I like to do an indirect rein and lift, and if I feel that they're pushing down on me, or they're looking for it, or they're not really looking for it, then I will adjust the pressure by pulling more or less depending on what I feel I need to do. But the beauty of it is that when they're not giving, you can pull as hard as you want doing this without really without any chance of really causing any problem, okay? But the key element to make them give to that indirect rein, though, is going to be how you use your body. This is why that using the indirect rein mixed with this continuous exercise is going to be very beneficial to develop you as a rider, and to help you really use your body the right way to accentuate that movement and make your horse really drive himself through the diagonal in a perfect way. So once you have a good control over the inside corner of the mouth of the horse and that inside shoulder via the indirect rein, then the first step of that continuous exercise is going to start into the circle. So you want to be able to circle and get full control over that inside shoulder, and absolutely no resistance when you go and get the corner of the mouth, and no loss in forward motion. So as you can see with this horse, that is the problem. That is actually the main problem with this horse. And this horse, although he goes around with his body in a frame and it appears to be very well composed, the thing is that he does not really use his body the right way. And when you have a horse that has a conformation that his head is built little higher up or whatever, when it's not using its body the right way, you really feel it. They really feel out of whack. Well, this horse doesn't. This horse can feel pretty good, but he is actually not really using himself the way that he should. Okay, so so what he does there is going to be to hide behind the bridle a little bit by hiding his head in his chest as a pretense to give instead of actually using his body, and we tend to reward that because it feels good, but it's not user friendly. You can't really use it to execute a maneuver perfectly. Okay, so putting him through this exercise, through this drill, is going to really put that to the challenge, make him have to use himself properly. So it's really funny because when I lope this horse and I ask him for that indirect rein and I push him through that, he cannot really give me that in that fake hiding behind the bit position he's used to do. So that's why that he will brace against that, and that's why he will gap his mouth often in order to try to escape in any way that he can, having to use his body the right way to give. But the beauty with the indirect rein is that I'm not fighting with him and I'm not pulling against him. I'm only putting him in a position, in a situation where he has no choice. Okay, well, what's giving him no choice is me using my legs in a perfect scissor movement where my outside leg is further back, my inside leg is pushing forward really hard and pumping that forward motion, and I'm really structuring that body through that diagonal. Okay, so this is how this has allowed me to do that without having any opposite pull in the face of the horse. Okay, and try to make this as simple for the horse, as complicated as that sounds. The next part of the drill is going to be that when you have your horse really locked into that circle, to that left diagonal, if you're on the left lead, is going to be to continue working that diagonal the exact same way, but use your body in an accentuated way, to where you're able to take your horse from the circle into the counter canter without your horse changing direction or diagonal in its mind, okay, or especially not physically. But if he's going to remain on the lead, a lot of the times going in a counter canter with only an indirect rein on the opposite diagonal is quite difficult. So it's going to require a lot of drive with your inside leg and keep your outside leg really pressed firmly against that rib cage to make sure you're channeling and pushing that energy through that diagonal. But when you're able to do that effortlessly, okay, going from the circle to the counter, and do not close that circle at the end of the counter and then go into a straight line and continue working that diagonal, that counter diagonal like that, into straight lines all the way around the arena until it becomes really effortless, until you have a horse that's like, okay, locked into its left diagonal, going around the arena that way. And when you feel that you have that, right after that, right after you've turned around that short side end of the arena and you come to that first cone and you feel your horse is like thinking far, thinking, yes, I'm going to do another lap like that, locked in my diagonal, then is a good opportunity to change leads, okay? So a lot of the time, especially at first, your horse may get surprised, may suck back, may not change lead good, but then what you're going to do is you're going to continue to drive him through that new diagonal you've just changed to, okay, and go around the arena, around the edge of the arena, continuing to drive them, and as if you were continuing to ask that lead change and driving them through that new diagonal with your indirect rein with the other hand, and having scissored your leg in a different position, and continue to do that all the way around the arena until that becomes easy. When it does, then you go back into your circle, then you work your indirect rein into your circle the same way you started the exercise and the drill in the first part, okay, but then you work that on the other part, and just until it gets really soft, until you have full control over the inside corner of the mouth, over the shoulder, and then once you do, then you take them into that counter again, go around the short side of the arena, do not close your circle, and then continue around the edge of the arena again. And as soon as that gets easy, ask for a lead change. And I promise that as you repeat that, you will find that obtaining like optimal control over the inside corner of the mouth and the inside shoulder of the horse in your circle is going to become effortless, and you're going to feel them move in a way that I promise you have not felt your horse move in such a fashion before. And you will find your lead change becoming so effortless and clean in that straight line that it's just going to feel like magic to you. You know, it does to me every time, even if it's something that I do so often with all of my horses. Whenever I get to that point where I come from that short side in that straight line and I just scissor my leg and my horse just change without nothing else changing, cannot be a better feeling. Once I obtain it that way, then I don't need to go around the arena again. I go back into my circle and get my diagonal and get my indirect rein in the corner of the mountain the other way. And once that's good, and I can do that both ways, and I feel that I'm meeting no resistance anywhere, then I know I've got my horse in the optimal position to stop in the middle and reward them. And so this is what I call the continuous drill. At this level, this is probably a level 3, and I'm going to start to introduce levels to the things that I explained, the series we upload, for you to really be able to categorize that better in your mind, because I would categorize this a level 3 exercise because because I am two-handed, and it's something that requires some solid foundation, and the horse has to have, it's not something a horse that has 60 to 90 days or even less than 120 days training will be able to do like we're talking about today. You're going to be able to do the same exercise, but you may need two-hand, and you may need to have more structure, and the indirect rein is not going to be your go-to tool to do the drill. But in a level 3, the indirect rein, this is where we're going to start to introduce the horse to working well one-handed, which is then going to be doing this exercise at higher speed, introducing fast speed, fast circles, faster transitions, and such one-handed, which then I would consider being level 5. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that you found value in this video. I recommend you and I urge you to go and do this drill for a few days with your horse, and comment below what you felt, the progress that you felt, and how it's helped you. If you have any questions, please ask, so we have content and ideas for content to continue elaborate on that subject, and make sure that we all get on the same page, get on the same level, and increase our performance levels to optimal. So anyways, it's been fun to do this. More to come. I hope you're having a good one. Cheers.